My name is Tom, alcoholic. Thank you for inviting me. I always consider it a privilege and an honor to get up and talk about AA. Thank you, Gail, for worrying. Your phone bill must be a fortune. She's been checking every week. You're gonna make it. Teddy, thanks for picking me up at the airport. And Terry and your beautiful wife, thank you so much for just making me feel so comfortable. My home group is 17 miles west of Cleveland, Ohio, a little town called Avon Lake. My sobriety date is July the 5th, 1962. Which means I pulled from better than 35 years of experiences. My wife said to me, Tom, lately I notice you jump around a lot in your lead. You're talking about today, and you're talking about yesterday, and you're talking about 40 years ago, and then you're talking about tomorrow, and you're talking about 30 years ago. She said, I can follow you, Tom, I lived it. But there's people that don't know us, and they may not be able to follow you the way you jump around. I says, honey, I'm talking alcoholics. They're not wrapped too tight either. Alkies we don't have any problem communicating. I'll sit down with any 5 alkies in this room over 2 cups of coffee. We know each other a long time. Because alkies don't talk from the brain. It's a language of the heart. I didn't come here to teach or preach. I come here to do the only thing I know how to do. And you get up here and you know what you're hoping? That somebody out there is as nutty as you were when you got here. And he's looking around the room at people. You know why everybody claps and they're so glad to see somebody new? You know why we feel for you and we're so happy for you? Because we know you just left hell. And we'll do everything we can do and show you everything we had to do so you don't go back. That's why we're here. I don't know how you got here. I got here through pain. Pain got me here. And God, we know the pain. Alkies know each other. You're not going to con an alkie. You can talk to an alkie 5 minutes. He knows whether you've been there and done that. Alkies aren't interested in what you know. They're interested in what you are. Show me. And you hope upon hope that somebody leaves this room tonight thinking, boy, if that guy did it, I'll stay one more day. That's what we're hoping. I've seen times I went to meetings ready to, somebody sticks their finger in my chest again, I'm going to punch him right in the mouth. And I got left the meeting feeling, Harry made it, and he had worse troubles than I had. You qualify. We go from the fun years to the sick years to the dying years. And that's only to let you know that where you are, we were. But the great message is you don't have to stay there. And all I did was come here and follow instructions of people that walked before me. I get in AA, you're going to think, boy, that guy loves AA. You better believe I love AA. I'll reach down into my toes if I have to let you know how much I love AA. And Al-Anon gave my wife her brain back. I don't know what it was like in your hospital. By the time I got to AA, I had my wife beat down so mentally she couldn't even add 2 and 2. 26 years old, she looked 60. We were good at that. Alkies don't say, I didn't take a wife, I took a hostage. Then she come down on. I got through my spiels now where I blow my top and all I get is stick it burns. What the hell does that mean, stick it burns? Thank you, Al-Anon. Thank you for my wife. Thank you for giving her bright eyes back now. She's well over 60 and she looks 26. Yeah, it's the greatest thing ever happened. And my son, Chris has got 15 years of sobriety. And I got grandkids coming to my house laughing and telling me stories and instead of crying and worried all the time. That's my AA, people. That's what I want to share with you, the difference in the drinking life and the sober life. Some selfish, self-centered nut comes here and you teach me how to live. And I'm not saying you're going to come here and your life's going to be a bowl of cherries and you're going to tiptoe through the tulips. No, I'd be lying through my teeth. You're going to have problems. But thank God we got so much help here. We learn how to live in spite of them. Learn how to be happy and stay above them. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. My dad's an admitted alcoholic. Died an alcoholic's death. Florida. I had to go down and spend 3 days with him, watched him die. Man, it was 180 pounds, 6'1", and he weighed about 75 pounds. Gut gone, everything gone, just watching. It's not pretty. Drank it, God, drinking with everybody we knew drank. My uncles, my dad, and all his friends. My dad worked in the shipyards. We used to meet on Friday nights at the neighborhood bar and play shuffleboard and sing songs and talk about how great it was in Ireland. Half of them never seen Ireland. I don't know what the hell they're talking about Ireland. I knew something was wrong then. If it was so damn good in Ireland, why they come here? Early age, I got into some trouble, wound up in the service. They shipped me off to the service. It was either that or upstate. I didn't want to go upstate to Elmira. 4 years in the service and no service stories. No service stories here. I didn't like the service. I went in a private, and 4 years later, I come out of private. That's every time I got a promotion, I went to town to celebrate, and I wind up not going back. They're always looking for me, always want me to come back. I don't want to go back. As long as I had money, I just wanted to keep drinking. Party time. Got discharged, went back home, and now you go through those legal drinking years. You're expected to drink. You're getting rehabilitated to civilian life. And where do you get rehabilitated? You get rehabilitated in the neighborhood bar. I was cutting a bar fight in San Francisco. My dad told everybody in the neighborhood that I was wounded in Korea. I couldn't find Korea on a map. But I loved it. I walked in the neighborhood bar. The bartender bought the first one. Everybody, there's Frank's son. He had it rough over there. Send him down a drink. I had drinks lined up in front of me. I'd go in a bar on a Monday with $1 and drink till Sunday. I loved it. But it always happens, and then, God, near the end of the night, some old timer puts his arm around your shoulder. Gee, Tom, I heard you had it rough over there. How'd it happen? I put my head down, till the doctor said I shouldn't talk about it. What the hell are you going to tell him? You're not going to make a liar out of Dad, and if he's buying a drink, he'll tell him any damn thing he wants. And I don't know an alky that won't. We have to think on our feet, because we forget what we did last night. Have to put the pieces together. Oh, God, I had a nurse tell me about alkies. I was sober a short time, and my sponsor was a great believer in going up to hospitals. They just started hospitals then. Before that, you couldn't find a place to put an alky. Then the insurance came in, and boy, everybody wants this. We got very popular all of a sudden. But we go up to the hospital, and I went up 3 weeks in a row with him and listened and talked to the patients. And he calls me one night. He says, Tom, I'm tied up, tighten the drum. You go up and talk to the patients. Well, okay, Jay, because whenever my sponsor said to do something, I did it. I just did it. You didn't quabble. Thank God. I walked up to the hospital. I walked up to 2 West, 2nd floor. Well, at that time, they didn't have this insurance thing hit so fast. They didn't have time to get things ready, so they put the alkies in with the mental patients. 2 West, same floors, mental patients, everything same. And I walked up to the 2nd floor, and the nurse said, Tom, you here for the AA meeting? I said, yes. She says, I'll get the patients. And she walked down a long hall, tapped one guy, walked by another one, tapped another one, walked by another one. Finally, she got about 10, 12 guys together and said, get down to the TV room. We're gonna have a meeting. And I grabbed her. I says, how do you know the difference between the alcoholics and the mental patients? Do they wear badges or something? She says, oh, no. She says, it's easy, Tom. You know, I've been sober a little while, and I looked down the hall. I couldn't tell the difference. She said, well, you got to be here 3 days. I said, why is that? She says, well, we carry them all in. After 3 days, you see the ones walking down the hall kind of quiet and sedating to themselves. I said, yeah. She said, they're the mental patients. You see the ones in the office telling us how to run the hospital? You got it. Alkies, boy, we're quick forgetters, aren't we? Do you realize if you're an alcoholic and you're laughing at yourself? Do you realize how great it is for an alky to laugh? We're thin-skinned people. You tell a joke about an alky in a bar, he'll punch your lights out. We don't like that. We come here and we learn we're not the center of the universe. We come here and we learn how to laugh at ourselves. Isn't that great? Life gets a lot easier to live when you don't take yourself too serious. Believe me. Anyway, I'm home, I don't know, time eludes me, but 6 months, whatever. And I'm asked to leave. And I was going to go back to California. I was stationed down in California for a while. I liked it. I was going to go back out and make my fortune. I was going to send money back to the poor people in Brooklyn. Oh, drink and dream, you screwy son of a gun. I got on a bus, and they had a rest stop in a town called Lorain, Ohio. And I seen the bars up the street, and I got off the bus, and I went up and started having a few drinks. That was 1952. I'm still in Lorain, Ohio. I never had a few drinks in my life. I get drinking, the bus leaves, the clothes leave, everything leaves. When I get drinking, everything leaves. Wives, cars, jobs, house, everything leaves. There's something wrong with me. They call it alcohol. I don't care what you call it, people. I'm allergic to booze. I tell you, I'm sober over 35 years. If I take a shot in a beer right now, I can't promise anybody in this room where I'll be at midnight. Maybe dead. And that isn't too far-fetched. In my small group, Avon Lake, there's 39 guys that are dead from the ages of 18 to 62 who thought they could drink again. We're not playing games, people. This isn't a cookie club. We're talking life and death here. We're here eating meals, and oh boy, everything's great, and we're telling stories, and we're laughing, but underneath it all, we're trying to save each other's life, and never forget it. Don't take this gift for granted, please, I beg you. I call home for money. Hey, Dad, I'm stranded in this town, and I need some dough, rah, rah, rah. And my dad had been talking to people in AA. Hey, I have a son that's nutty and a jaybird. Excuse me. I got a son that's a nut when he drinks. How can I help him? Frank, you want to help him? Yeah, don't help him. What kind of advice is that? Want to help him, don't help. Let him wake up in enough jails, let him beat his head in against enough walls, let him get to the point where he's sick and tired of being sick and tired. Let him get to the point where for a couple of seconds he gets honest with himself. He says, hey, maybe it's me. Then we'll break our back to help him. But till then, Frank, let the clown finish his act. People, if I learned anything, I learned one thing. This isn't a program for people who need it. I needed it years before I wanted it. You could have sent 100 AAs to my house every weekend. I would have asked them to death, and just so I could go up to the corner. For people who want it. When you get to the point where you're beat down enough and you're hurt enough and you say, God, almighty God, somebody, hey, what do I have to do, guys? What do I have to do? I can't go on like this. Then we'll show you what to do. Different attitude. My dad hangs up, says, so goodbye, so long, good luck. No money. I'm drinking in a bar. A guy says they needed chemical engineers at a chemical company. I go for an interview and I get the job. Now I'm a chemical engineer. I can't spell chemical engineer. You put an alky with his back to the wall, he'll be it. He'll be whatever he wants, whatever he can. Because I met Chief Crazy Horse today back there. Be anything we want. Reminded me of South Dakota when I was drinking out there. I know why. I know why. They Indians and Irish, they shouldn't give them booze. They just shouldn't give them any booze. God, the local priest at our parish, when they baptize a kid, they give him the big book. All Catholics get the big book. If you're Catholic, you got 2 strikes against you right there. Irish Catholic, you're a loser. Yeah. You get that book. God almighty. While working at this chemical company, I met a young lady. Oh, God, the most beautiful thing I ever seen in my life. Still is. We just celebrated 45 years of sobriety in December. People, if the shoe was on the other foot, it wouldn't have lasted 45 days. If she would have pulled one stunt that I pulled, the door would have been nailed shut, and there's no making up. There's no coming back. God blesses us alkies with people that stick with us and support us. I don't know why, but we're gifted. I don't know what it was like in your house, people, but by the time I come to AA, my wife was ready for straps. It isn't pretty. I met her father. He was a pipe fitter welder. He was working out of town, and I would pick her up in the morning. She was going to nurses training. And I worked nights. I would pick up in the morning, take her to work, go to my room, pick her up at 5 o'clock that night, take her out to dinner. I wouldn't let her out of my sight. I knew I had a good thing. I had a class act, and I wasn't going to let it go. Over the holidays, her dad come home. I was standing in the kitchen. He said, let's go up the corner, get to know one another. I said, sounds good to me. And we went up the corner, and we got drinking, and we got talking, and we got laughing, and we got along great. And about midnight, he says, Tom, would you do me a favor? I says, you name it, Walt, you got it. He's never come near my home or my daughter again. I said, what the hell are you talking about? I thought we got along wonderful. He said, we do. I'll drink with you anytime. But I don't want my daughter tangled up with you. You drink too much. I said, what do you mean I drink too much? You drink and drink for drink with me. That's why I know. I put my family through hell with this booze. You think I want my daughter going through it with something like you? I said, I'm going to marry your daughter. He's over my dead body, as if need be. And boy, the lights when I broke my nose, boom. An hour later, we're down in the hospital. It's sewn up his mouth, his eye, my nose. It's a mess. 3 days later, I married his daughter. Don't tell an alkie not to do something. I get drunk and I lose the job. Now I'm in a strange town with a wife. What can the poor guy do? His daughter married this yo-yo. Takes me into Cleveland, gets me involved in a pipe fitter apprenticeship in the local union. And we take a brand new 2-car garage and we change it into a honeymoon cottage. Little shower and space heater, kitchen and living room. And we're going to live there. And when Tom gets in his 3rd or 4th year of his trade and starts making a decent buck, we're going to buy a house in the suburbs and we're going to live happily ever after. 4 children, and 7 years later, we're still in the cottage. And I'm a journeyman now, and I'm making a pretty decent buck, but the more I make, the more I drink. I used to drink on Friday, Saturday, sober up Sunday, go to work Monday. Now it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, go to work Tuesday, get paid on Wednesday, don't make Thursday. Wake up in Chicago, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, corner bar on the stool, in the car, in the parking lot. I never knew where I was going to wake up. Kitchen floor. I used to wake up on the kitchen floor a lot. And she would come out and say, Tom, I need some money for groceries. I don't have any money for groceries. So I did the only thing I know how to do. I used to attack. That was my best defense. Damn it, I'm not going to make me like that neighbor. I had a neighbor, I hated his guts. He was normal. Biggest thing in his life was his grass. Every Saturday morning, he mows the damn grass. And I got a hangover, and he's... I'd be in a neighborhood bar, and he'd walk in, and I send him down a drink. I'm trying to be neighborly. Give so-and-so a drink. He'd drink it and leave. I said, where you going? I have to go home. Supper's waiting. Supper's waiting. When I go in to have a drink, I could care less if the Pope is waiting. That dawns on me. Anything's waiting. I'm only going to have a couple. Next thing I know, it's last call. I don't know why. I start ranting and raving. I'm going to leave you. That was my big spiel. I'm going to leave you. And I go into the bedroom and start packing my underwear and my toothbrush and my brown paper bag. She'd come in and cry. Tom, what'd I do to upset you? I didn't mean to upset you. Oh, it was sickening, people. I had the world by the tail. Do you know I had my wife believing it was her fault I drank? That's how sick you get them. What good is that? Then when they took me to AA, they brought her to that communist thing. Don't laugh. You laugh? I hope to God your wife goes there. Your wife goes there, your act's going right down the tube, babe. I thought I was so happy she's going to go there and learn about me and learn how to help me. No, they go there and learn how to help themselves in spite of you. Greatest thing in the world. Thank God. Do you think I don't love Al-Anon? We tell jokes and we kid, but down deep I know. God. Thanks, Al-Anon. I come home one night about 4 in the morning, my suitcase hit me right in the chest. She says, I can't live this way anymore. I'll do whatever I have to do. Just get out of our lives. Oh, I was happy. I was going to go and live on the Gold Coast. I was going to get Cadillac convertible. Oh, drink and dream, you screwy son of a gun. When you're not working too steady, you don't go to the Gold Coast. You go to an $8 a week room behind the Avenue bar. Your big nights out are sitting in all neighborhood diets, peeling the labels off of beer bottles, listening to Paul Me songs. Tell me about good times. And when you want to see your kids, you want to see your kids when the bar's closed, and you get in your car, your old car. God. Every alkie has a car, don't they? In construction, you got 2 cars. One you drive to the mills and the rotten jobs and you don't want to ruin a car, so you got an old junker. And then you got a nice car for Sunday with the family. Well, we had one car, an old junker. Beat up Plymouth with ball tires and no ignition key. Didn't have the keys because I was drinking. I lose the keys. My electrician buddy says, don't worry, Tommy, I'll fix it. Reaches under the dash, pulls out all the wires, gives me 3 wires and a clothespin. And that's how I used to start my car every morning. Get out in the morning, take the wires, set the clothespin on, the car would start. I'd be going to work, there'd be traffic all around me, miles and miles of traffic. I hit a bump, the clothespin falls, and the car stops. Everybody's beeping their horn, yelling, screaming, while I'm looking for the damn clothespin. I used to think that was normal. That's normal. Don't everybody live like this? You don't buy tires. I don't see the white cords yet. That's openers. Oh, God. Drive out in Avon Lake at 2 in the morning, pull in the driveway, and the cop's pulling right behind you because you're not going to see your kids because they got a restraining order. And what else he cares about restraining orders? Look, Tom, don't give us a hard time this week. Now, just go. I'm not going. I'll see my kids. No, you're not. God, I hope somebody in this room don't go out again. But if you do and the cop says real nice to you, look, Joe Blow, whatever your name is, be nice and just get in your car and leave. Do yourself a favor. Get in your car and leave. Because if you think you're John Wayne, you're going to throw one punch, you're going to wake up in jail, your hair's going to hurt. I'm trying to save you a lot of pain. I woke him the next mornings with, oh, God, my whole body felt like a toothache. It's old, people. Finally, I call her up. Oh, one time I was drinking, you know how that happens, and I got 36 stitches in my face. Some guy did a job on me. And in my sick mind, I said, boy, this would be a good time to go out and see the wife. She'll feel sorry for me and let me in. And when I knocked on the back door, she opened the door, looked at me, and smiled. I was so happy. She was glad to see me. She said, do you know God answers prayers? You finally got yours, and slammed the door. That was the end of that routine. She said we were separated a year and a half. This is a dark period of my life. But I remember calling her up and saying, Glenn, I'm fed up with living like this. I haven't had a drink in 3 weeks, and I'd like to come out and see you, the kids, Sunday, and take you on a picnic. She says, you haven't drank in 3 weeks? I says, no. She's all right. So I went out, and I got picnic baskets and baseball clubs and baseballs, and I went down to the park with the chickens and the potato chips and all the things I thought normal fathers did. Who teaches you how to be a father? Who teaches you that? And for 3 Sundays in a row I did this, and she thought I was a changed man, and we're going to start fresh. We'll start over. And I borrowed money off everybody I knew, and we bought a house on land contract, one of those summer cottages that they winterized, and you could move in. And I remember sitting on the front porch the day we moved in, and people, I'm not blowing smoke, and I'm not trying to con anybody. I was glad I'm not going to drink anymore. Monday I'm going to go to work, and we're going to start paying the bills, and we're going to live like other people. I made as much money as anybody on the block, and they were going to Florida in the wintertime. They were buying new cars every other year. Their kids were going to school with nice warm clothes. My kids were going to school with holes in their shoes. There's something wrong. I want to live like them, Glenn. Well, it was exactly 30 days later. 30 days. And I'm on the front porch, and I'm nursing a hangover because sometime during that 30 days I was so good I figured I deserved one. The rat race starts all over again. While I'm sitting on the front porch, I know it's 30 days because the house payment's due. We don't have it. And who comes walking up the street but my brother-in-law? My brother-in-law is an electrician I worked with. I introduced him to my wife's sister, and they got married. Oh, God, you should see my father-in-law now. He's a raving maniac. He's got 2 alkies for son-in-laws. He comes up and he says, gee, Tommy, he says, I got problems. I said, what do you mean you got problems? He says, well, I got a drunken driving charge. I got to go before Jensen Tuesdays. Bob, I don't want to hear it. Had 4 of them in the last 5 months. I'm paying the last one off on time payments up in Avon. I'm paying an attorney by the week. I'm borrowing money from loan companies to pay off fines. He says, yeah, but I'm being sued for divorce. I said, I know. He says, how do you know? I said, I got my papers this morning, too. Judge Jensen was a friend of the families. He called the 2 girls and he said, look, I'll give you 2 divorces for the price of 1. Get rid of the losers. You girls are too young and pretty to put up with that nonsense. While we're talking, my wife comes out. And she talks to my brother-in-law. They get on great, still do. You know, my sister and I were talking to a minister in this town, and they have a meeting at his church on Friday nights, and people are putting their lives together, and they don't drink. They must do something. He said, gee, you think if I go to that group, she'll hold off on a divorce? She says, I don't know about that. That'd be up to her. But You and her get along great when you don't drink. It might be worth a shot. I figure, boy, there's my out. I say, hey, how about me? I'll go. I'll go Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. I'll go anywhere. I don't want to. Come with me. Come with me for 5 minutes. I'm going to show you the difference in living drunk and living sober. When we were drinking, my wife and her sister would not see each other for 8 and 9 months at a time. Because they both believe, well, when Bob isn't with Tom, he isn't that bad. When Tom isn't with Bob, he really isn't that bad. Because whenever we got together, it was a 3-day shot. One time they were Christmas shopping, and they stopped at the house to have lunch together or something. And I says, don't cook, honey. Bob and I will go up the corner and get some of those roasted chickens. Bob and I went up the corner. The guy says, takes about 20 minutes. I said, okay, we'll be right back. We'll go over and have a couple of drinks. We'll be right back. 3 days later, we're in New York or Pennsylvania looking for his drunken uncle who owned the distillery. We got all the Christmas presents in the back. Christmas is shot. That Christmas and many others. Holidays were a joke. Family fights is all they turned into. Because I get drunk and Bob gets drunk and we take on the whole damn family because it's not fun. That's drunken living. Now let me show you sober living. 5, 6 years ago, I don't know. I'm supposed to go out to Eugene, Oregon to speak at a conference. And Bob Maradine stopped at the house and Glenn's saying, Tom and I are leaving in about 3 weeks. We're going out to Oregon. My wife doesn't fly, so we were going to drive. Bob says to me, you know, Tom, we never really went on a honeymoon, have we? We never really took a vacation with our wives. I says, no. Bob's got 30 years of sobriety, too. He says, why don't we do that? Why don't we do what? He says, why don't the 4 of us get together, get in the van, and we'll drive out, and we'll just go bumming for 3 weeks. I said, boy, that sounds great. Well, how do you want to go? I don't know. We threw a dot at a map. Upper Michigan, Upper Peninsula, up over the Mackinac Bridge, and round down through Wisconsin, through here. Some of it looked familiar to me when I was coming back with Teddy. And stopped at the finest hotels because you're not drinking, you got a few bucks. Finest restaurants, laughing. My wife having a few glasses of wine and I'm dancing. Oh, boy. You know, at home I'm married to a nun. You get my wife in a hotel, she's a $500 a night hooker. There is nothing like it. This sobriety has a lot of payoffs. I'll tell you. And I slept in a lot of hotels in 5 weeks. I come home, I was exhausted. It's great. It goes with the territory from a guy that slept on the couch for 18 months when I come here. That was a pretty good deal. Now we do it every year. We just shot down, just before this, we shot down in Texas and Alabama. He wants to do it every other month. Yeah, let's go. This is great, yeah. That's the difference in sobriety and drinking. From miserable living to happy living. Learning how to live. Anyway, Friday night, we go to our first AA meeting, Bob and I. I'm 28, he's 27. Who the hell can tell you anything when you're 28? Walk in a room, and I look around, there's 20 or 30 people there. And 2 things I know. When I get to the front door, swinging doors of the Avon Lake Friday night, there's 2 things I know, and one is I don't like people. I don't like or trust people. Everybody's a phony. Everybody's out for what they can get. When you live in the streets, you act like the streets. I'll sucker you before you sucker me. That's how you think. That's how you live. I didn't know I was going to meet people like I met in these rooms. I didn't know I was going to meet people that thought I was shaky and went back to my house and sat at my kitchen table with me till 3, 4 in the morning just to make sure I didn't drink that night. And then when they got up and went to work and they didn't have their hand out for anything but help you, and they get their greatest joy out of making sure somebody stays sober. Where do you meet people like that? You meet them here. Here. Because they know that's how they stay sober, by giving it back. And the greatest joy is watching somebody make it. We walk in this room and I look around and there's guys there talking to their wives. Who the hell talks to their wife? My wife and I don't talk. We fight. We can't talk more than 5 minutes without being in each other's throat. Guys laughing and joking. 5 or 6 guys over by the coffee telling jokes. One guy breaks away, starts towards us. He's 105. I'm dressed in clean work clothes and I got 35 cents in my pocket, and that's all we have. There's no food in our refrigerator. turning off the gas. I can't get a job out the hall because they know the second I get a check, I'm gone. This guy walks over and he sticks out his hand. He says, "Welcome, it's so good to see you young fellas. This program works, fellas. I haven't had a drink in 16 years. 16 years. God, my legs got weak. My brother-in-law says, "You got to be awful thirsty, mister." Who the hell ever heard of not drinking for 16 years? Don't talk to me about years, people. Talk to me about days, hours, and minutes. Talk to me about the days you storm out of the house and slam the door and say, "I've been sober 10 days," and they don't appreciate it. Still treat me like they used to. You've been kicking people in the teeth for 15 years. You're sober 10 days and you want the whole world to change. Oh, God, it don't work that way, people. You got to pay your dues. You got to pay your dues. It takes a long time for the respect and the trust to come back, but it will come back. And the love will come back. And I'm talking to somebody who the only reason we didn't get divorced is we couldn't afford it. And the only reason we were together was because of survival. Start telling us about this great life we're going to find, and I say, "Mister, not me, him. He's the one that got problems. He's got drunken driving charges." And his wife suing him for divorce. I can quit any time I want, and I got away. Thank you. So Bob went over in the corner, and I went over to get the coffee, and I got the coffee, and I put it in my right hand because I had strangers shaking hands with me, and I don't like that. I don't like strangers shaking hands with me. What are you out for? Then they announced the lead. Oh, boy, here's the Messiah. Guy gets up there in a brand new suit, white shirt, tie, and he looks out. Oh, he's just tipping toe and do the tulips. That little cake, white cake, one candle. First year of sobriety, first lead, and he's just thinking, "Oh, isn't life beautiful?" Life is beautiful. Hey, fella, they turned off the gas. I'm being sued for divorce. I'm losing the house. I haven't got a job. I come here for some kind of help. I don't know what kind of help. I don't understand how this works. You don't have to understand how it works. If I had to understand how it works, I'd be drunk. You just bring the body. The mind will catch up. I promise you, bring the body. The mind will catch up. I haven't got a brain by the time we get here. I use my sponsor's brain. This guy gets up, he looks out at everybody, looks at his wife, he says, "Hi, honey, I love you." She stands up and says, "I love you, too." My brother-in-law poked me, he says, "What the hell are we doing here?" I said, "I know what we're doing here, you sick son of a gun. You wanted to come here, not me." Then he looks out, he says, "Isn't it great to be sober? I got up this morning and I could smell the flowers. Smell the flowers." He lost me right there. I said to brother-in-law, "Don't dare poke me again. I'm done. Will you get done so I can get the hell out of here? You don't live in my world, fella. I'm in deep trouble, and you're telling me if I come here for a year, you're going to give me a cake and I'm going to smell flowers? You can go pound salt." He finally got finished. We started towards the door as quick as we could, and at the door in Avon Lake stands Big John, 6'4", 220 pounds, and in good shape. And I'm looking at John, he's looking at me, and I figured, "Oh, that's how it works." You're not going to drink tonight, Sal, because John's going to make damn sure you don't drink tonight. John put out his hand. He said, "Hello, young fella." I says, "Hello." He says, "Let's see, drunken driver." 5 minutes he told my whole story. And he don't let go of your hand. I figured my wife called up and told these people about me, and then he's supposed to shame me. You know why I know that? Because that's where I was, and a lot worse when I got here. And there's people in this room that just come out of prisons. There's people in this room come out of insane asylums. There's people in this room come out no more than their $300,000 in their basements living like zombies. But you do yourself a favor, young fella. You bring the body here. Your mind's going to catch up. That's not too much to ask for a second chance at life. I know if you knew, this all sounds, but it's true. It works. And you're not going to get anything fancy from me. You're going to get simplicity. I don't want any head trips. Simplicity. Good close friend of mine, John. John always had to dive into why. 19 years of fooling with this program. Could never get more than 10, 11 months and get drunk again because he had to know why he drank. John went out to somewhere. Come back into my kitchen one Saturday morning. He was tickled pink. He found out why he drank. I said, "You did? Why?" It's because my mother didn't breastfeed me. I said, "You drank for the same reason I did. It made you feel good." Your mother didn't breast. If I would have went to Sister Nation and say, you know why I drank, sister? My mother didn't breastfeed me. She'd break a rosary bead right over my head. John got drunk again, fell asleep in a chair. The cigarette caught the chair on fire, and the chair caught John on fire, and that's how John died. You think we're playing games? When I say keep it simple, people, I mean it. Keep it simple, one foot in front of the other. Trust God, clean up your act, and help not the drunk. That's the whole meat. Tell you what affected me the first meeting I come to was eyes. How do you explain eyes? John looked at me, not down at me. How good that feels to an alkie. People take you for face value and they like you, just like you. Don't look at you like you're some kind of moral degenerate. Just accept you. I remember going to meetings and have old timers say, hey, Tom, sit here next to me. How good that felt to walk in a room full of people and have somebody say, sit here next to me. I wasn't invited to family get-togethers. Here I got a stranger tell me to sit next to me. John, here's my phone number. Another man come over. He had good eyes. They had strong, kind, wonderful eyes. They seemed to know where they were yesterday, where they are now, and where they're going tomorrow. How do you get that without a drink? How do you get that? You get it here. You get it here. On the way home, boss, what do you think? They got something, Bob. I don't know what it is, but they got something. I'm going back and find out what it is. He's not me. I'm too young. I got too much living to do. Did all his living. 18 months, I put him in a white coat. And the DT swallowing his tongue in somebody's attic, almost died. I come back to your meetings, and for 4 months I've listened to your success stories. I'm sleeping on the couch. The wife and I are still fighting. The kids don't come near Daddy. Daddy's nuts. If I'm in the kitchen having a cup of coffee, they sneak in the living room. If I go in the living room, they go to the kitchen. They can't be near Daddy, because Daddy just yells and screams all the time. Poor me. Oh, I'm giving up for you and the kids. I'm not drinking and we're still broke. Oh, God. He's going to dig a hole. I dug mine. You're going to dig yours. I hope the deeper the better. I hope it's 10,000 feet deep. I hope when you hit the bottom, you're flat on your back. At least you look up for the first time. You see what direction you got to go. By the time we get here, most of us, that's the only way we can go is up. Want to go deeper? Just have another drink. Yelling, screaming, fighting, sleeping on the couch. The wife don't want anything to do with me. Nobody wants anything to do with me. That's drinking living. Want no sober living? I got grandkids that think I'm the greatest thing ever come down the pike. They never seen me drunk. They want to share their whole lives with me. The youngest is 16 now, and the oldest is 21. That's why my wife isn't here. They're taking everybody out to Mother's Day brunch. Their mothers and my wife and my mother-in-law, and everybody's going out. They come to the house and share their report card with me before they share it at home. Justin plays football now and baseball. But when he was 7, he had karate lessons. I'm making coffee one Saturday morning. Justin comes running in the kitchen. Grandpa, I learned a new move. You did what? And I turn around and look, and Justin jumps up and kicks. You know how high they kick when they're 7? You get down like a ton of bricks, boy. You're laying on a kitchen table. I'm hurting, boy. Tears are coming to my eyes, and he's jumping up and down. It works. It works, you little son of a... My own kids didn't want to be in the same room with me, and my grandkids kicked me in the groin. Because there's no fear of Grandpa. Because Grandpa isn't crazy anymore. Because Grandpa doesn't yell and scream anymore. Because Grandpa's just there to help. Not preach or teach. He's there to help. He's there when you want him, he's there. God, they got me bankrupt. You mentioned cars. I went down to Naples. Now the hell... You know, we haven't got much time, but the hell with it. I'm going to tell you this story because I got 2 beautiful granddaughters, Erin and Kate, and Kate's red hair and just gorgeous. Erin graduated last year, the year before, and she's on to college, and Kate's graduated. I got grandkids in college. I couldn't afford to send my own kids. But I went to Naples to speak at a meeting, and I come home, and I walked in through the garage, and I have a Chrysler convertible, 1985. That car had 32,000 miles on it, never seen snow, never seen rain. I used to have it decked out every year. That was our honeymoon car. On summer nights, I just put the top down and ride through the million and out through the boats. And I'm on the car's gone. I said to the wife, I says, who's doing the car this year? She says, I got to talk to you about that. I said, what do you mean you got to talk to me about that? She says, well, you know, Kate just turned 16. And she always loved that car. So I gave it to her. I said, you did what? She says, I gave her the car for her birthday. I said, honey, she's up, whoop, whoop. She got on the phone, she says, Kate, Grandpa's home. Well, in 2 minutes, Kate pulls in the driveway with the top down and the red hair flowing, runs in the kitchen, grabs me, kisses me. So, Grandpa, I love it. I thought, that's wonderful, honey. Huh? What are you going to do, take the car back? So then Kevin got a car, Justin got a car, Aaron got a car. The last one that kicked me in the groin, he just got a new, what are they, Sables or whatever? I'm bankrupt with cars. Okay? Isn't it great when I come to AA, I needed a cosigner to borrow a nickel off of household finance. Tell me about how wonderful. After 4 months coming to these meetings, I realized my problem isn't booze, it's money. Money becomes my God. I'm chasing overtime all over the country. My sponsor says, tell me you're chasing fool's gold. Now just work 40 hours and work steady, you'll get out of the hole. No, it's not fast enough. I got to do things for my family. I hear about 712s in South Dakota on the missile bases around Sturgis and Rapid City in that area. I'm going out. Tom, you're not strong enough yet. Now, you live your life, I'll live mine. And I go out to South Dakota. And that's where I seen that crazy horse thing. That statue. What a fantastic thing. But anyway, I went out there and I got working on the missile bases, and the result of a good apprenticeship and not drinking for 4 months and 7 weeks out there, they put me in charge of Titan II fuel systems. And I made a lot of money. Anytime anybody worked, because I was superintendent, I got paid. So I lease a 300-acre ranch out there. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I never seen a live chicken in my life. I lease a 300-acre chicken ranch. They shouldn't let Alkies think. They shouldn't let us think. Because we don't think small. We go bananas. We just get this place out in the country right under Bear Butte Mountain. Call the wife. I come on out. The kids are going to love it. She says, you drinking? I says, no, honey. I got this place. You're going to love it. She's all right. The kids get out of school in June. We'll be out. I went to town that night, and I figured everything's so good, I'll make it better. I'll have a shot in a bit. Well, by the time she got there, I'm drinking heavy. I got the chickens. I go to the job. I tell all the guys, look, you want chickens? You go to your foreman's, get the order. I'll bring in the chickens, or you can stop, and I'll bring in the eggs, and you can stop at the ranch, and rah, 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 rah. Some guy from Iowa says, Tommy, you ever have anything to do with chickens? I says, no. I says, what's the big deal? You feed them, you get the eggs, so they no. He says, you got to put gravel in with the feed. I says, gravel? What the hell you got to put gravel? He says, that's what makes the eggshells hard. I said, that right? He says, yeah. So Tony was in charge of the laborers on the job. He was from New Jersey. I says, Tony, would you do me a favor and put some gravel in the chicken coops? He says, don't worry, Tommy, you're covered. Well, he didn't know anything about damn chickens. He took a 10-ton dump truck, put 10 tons of gravel in it, went out to the chicken coops, and dumped the gravel in killed all the chickens, broke all the eggs, knocked down it. That was the egg career. That was the end of that. Now you think, what's that nut doing up there talking about chickens? What the hell's that got to do with sobriety? I'll tell you what's got to do with sobriety. If you're new and you don't know what the hell you're doing, get a sponsor. Get a sponsor that's been around a while that knows what the hell he's doing. Not somebody's out of the I'm out of the hospital 60 days. I'll sponsor you. Yeah, you both you go right down the damn tube under the gravel. Get somebody to chop your legs over. He knows you're doing something wrong. Get somebody down here to win friends and influence people. He's here to save your life. The wife came out in June. She stayed till Christmas. Couldn't take it anymore and left. Twice my family almost froze to death. Once the cops called her, they told her to come in and get me. And a big whiteout. She hit a snowbank, and if it wasn't for a fuel oil truck that found her in the snow, my kids and her would have froze to death. By the time everything happened out there, she went out to the wires went down, and I'm on Dream Street. I don't know what day it is. I'm writing thousands of dollars worth of checks at the bar. They're cashing them at the end of payday. Oh, here, you make them good. Took all she could and left. I lost the job because I couldn't read a print. I couldn't even see. I'd have a bottle. I had to drink to work and work to drink. So I'm back welding. I throw a hood down in February here, Christmas carols. Finally, one guy from Ohio says, Tommy, I'm going home. Why don't you let me take you home? You're cracking up. I get to the back door of the house. She opens the door. She says, keep going, please. Just get out of our lives. If you got any decency left, just get out of our lives. I don't even want the kids to see you. I go to the hall. They give me a ticket to go to work in New York. I get to New York. I'm too sick to work. Stop in for a few drinks. I'm sleeping on the trains. I'm sleeping in the hallways, alleyways, stoops. I wake up in the hallway in the apartment house where Mom and Dad live, and I wake up and my mother's sitting next to me in the stairs crying and weeping, and you know, we talk. I said, Mom, what's the matter? She said, what's the matter? Look at you. Will you please go get help? You're breaking my heart, son. Mom, I'm all right. How can you say you're all right? Look at you. That's drinking living, huh? Let me show you sober living. Here's a mother that sitting next to her son in a dark hallway crying and thinking her son is going to die. The same son comes into AA. As a result of sobriety, goes into business for himself after he's sober a while with the help of bookkeepers and attorneys and lawyers and engineers and does wonderful. Goes down to visit his sponsor who lives in Fort Myers, Florida, and while he's talking to him, he says, gee, boy, my mom and dad are still up there in the snow and the cold. They would love it here. And he says, Tommy, there's a place for sale right up the street. And you go up the street and you buy the house for your mom and dad. And you go to New York, you say, just bring a toothbrush, Mom. That's all you're going to need. And you take your folks down to Florida and you give your mother a new house. And your mother stands there and she's crying, but now they're tears of joy. Look what my son did. Look what AA did. She's calling my aunts and all her friends. Come on down. She'll have all Brooklyn in Florida if I let her. They had 6, 7 good years before they died. But that's my AA. Giving joy, and maybe we call it making amends. Huh? You want to get happy? Do something for somebody else. Watch what happens. Now I'm going to kill myself. I get up on the 3rd Avenue L and I look over. I figure nobody loves me. AA don't work. My wife don't want me. My mother don't want me. I'll show them. I'll kill me. That's good. That's good thinking, isn't it? And I look over and I get a spiritual awakening. Big rocks. Great big rocks. And something inside said, Tommy, suppose you jump and you hit the rocks and you don't die. Oh, God, that's going to hurt. Huh? I don't want to hurt people. I don't know anybody wants to hurt. Wife sends me money to come home because she was having a tough time working and trying to feed 4 kids and raise them. And she figured if I got in town, maybe I could give her a few bucks. I sweat it out for 5 days. I got down the hall. They hide me down the mill for 3 days, give me a check, and tell me to get out of town. I go cash the check in the barn. I wake up in jail. And I don't know why I'm there, and I'm scared. And I cry all night. I'm crazy. I'm not just an alcoholic. I'm nuts. People don't do this. What I did, I went home and totally wrecked the house. Why? You're nuts. And I looked between the bars, and who's standing there but my brother-in-law, my naughty brother-in-law. And he's cleaned up, and his eyes are bright. And even with him, I got to put up my wall. You know our wall? We don't let people in. We can't tell somebody we're afraid. We're alcoholics. We're John Wayne. We have nothing. I look at him, I said, can you imagine I'm in jail again? He looked me straight in the eye and laughed. He said, of course I can imagine you're in jail again. You're just like me. When you're drunk, you're crazy. Tom, I haven't had a drink in 8 days. You haven't had a drink in 8 days? You can't make it, Bob, 8 days. Tom, I go to 2 meetings a day. I got out of the hospital, they sent me into detox, and I go to 2 meetings a day. I got a sponsor. If they don't send you away, I'll take you with me tonight. They gave me 6 years probation, and that night I went to Lorraine St. Mary's, and I can't tell you a thing about the leave, but the old timer that become my sponsor shook hands with another man at the end of the meeting. He said, see you next week. And I grabbed him, I says, how do you know that? How do you know you're going to see him next week? How do you know you're going to be sober next week? How do you just take I don't even know if I'm going to make it home tonight. Back off and come with me. Went to a drugstore. We got vitamin B, Karo syrup, orange juice, and honey. Went to my kitchen table. He poured out the vitamin B pills, mixed the orange juice and the honey, said, take them and drink that. You talk about a 3rd step? I didn't have a God. I didn't have faith in anything, but I had faith in this man because he was sober 12 years. And whatever he wanted me to do, he had the secret I was going to do. So I took the pills and I drank the juice. Says to me, what time is that? 10 after 12. Did you have a drink today? I says, no. He says, you got it. I said, I got what? You got the program? I got what program? What the hell are you talking about? I got the program. You haven't had a drink in 24 hours. That's bottom line. There's a hell of a lot more, but you're not ready. I'll be here at 8 o'clock in the morning. Do you realize you'll have 1/3 of today in? 8 o'clock in the morning. A man that was old enough to be my father was at my front door. He took me into Cleveland. Went to Stella Maris. I got a shot of vitamin B. We went to 2 discussion groups. We had lunch, took me home, come and pick me up that night. We went to a meeting. And I went to meetings, and more meetings. I went to meetings. I didn't want to go to meetings, but there they were. I seen times I left the job and I'm going home and I'm going to shower up, get dressed, and go get drunk. The hell with that goody life. Nothing's better. We're still in hot. We're still fighting. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. I go home, I take a shower, dress, go out the front porch. There's 2 AAs sitting on my front porch. Hi, Tom. How you doing? They knew me better than I knew myself. Thank God for those people. Meetings. When I go to a meeting and somebody says, any anniversaries? And somebody says, Tom's sober a year. Yeah, everybody clapped. Oh, I got a head that big. After the meeting, I'm driving home. This guy says, hey, Tommy, you're sober a year and you still sleeping on the couch? I says, yeah. Why? Well, I don't know. She don't want me in a bed with her. Well, the hell with her. You sleep in the bed, Tom. You're sober a year. You sleep in the bed. Let her sleep on the couch. Is that right? That's right. Damn right. Hey, Tom, you still giving her checks every week? Yeah. You still broke? Yeah. What the hell are you giving her the money for? She don't know how to handle money. Is that right? That's right. You're sober a year. You handle the money, Tom. Okay. I'm in the car by myself. I had these conversations with 6 nuts up here. And I always listen to the crazy ones. I don't know why. That's the ones I listen. It sounds good to me. You ever been to St. Louis? No, why don't we go? Okay, boom, there I go. Nuttier than a jaybird. I pull in the back door, I walk in the house, and she's sitting in the living room reading those books. That's all she ever reads, is them damn books. Communist books. Walk in the living room, I say, new game rules. From now on, I handle the money. You don't know how to handle money. We're still broke. And from now on, I'm going to sleep in the bed. You're going to sleep in the couch. And from now, and she says, whoa. Never said whoa before she got involved with you people. Whoa. I said, what do you mean, whoa? Do you know what today is? She said, do I know what today is? She said, go out in the kitchen, look at the calendar. And out in the kitchen was a great big red circle. July the 5th, Tom sober, 1 year, 2 days. Still crazy. Comes out and says, you know, I used to think our problem was booze. I used to think you rant, rage, yelled, and screamed because the booze made you crazy. But I know you haven't had anything to drink in a year, and nothing's different. You're the same now as you were when you were drinking. You're still... Oh, you. Self-centered, selfish son of a gun goes with the territory. Tom, for my sanity and for the kid's sanity, I gotta divorce you, Tom, because I can't live this way. Drunk or sober, this marriage isn't gonna work. And I went to the meetings, I grabbed the old timers. I said, you lied to me. You told me things were gonna get better. I'm sober a year, my wife's divorcing me. Your wife's divorced you? Oh, Tom, I never got divorced. Hey, Bill, did you get divorced? Come here, Bill. Tell Tom about divorce. Oh, Tom, they're great. You're gonna get spiritual, Tom. She's gonna take every damn material thing you own, Tom. They don't have any sympathy. Sit down, nutty. Sit down. I go to a meeting, I'm sober 14 months. And a guy gets up there and he tells my story. He's sober 6 years. And his wife was in the audience and she's looking at him like he's some kind of movie star. And he's talking about they just got this new refrigerator that day and they were going on a 2-week houseboat vacation. Him, her, and the 2 kids. They were leaving in the morning. And I sat out there and I said to myself, my God, when is it going to get like that in our family? When am I going to be able to take my wife and kids on a vacation? When are my kids going to want to be with me? What am I doing wrong? What's going on? And he says, take it home, yo-yo. Don't come in here with your Mr. AA and all the great spiritual advice for the new man. You tell a new man how great this program is, and you go to his house and you see his kids and his wife looking at him with fear in their eyes, and now you're going to tell him how great this program is, and he goes to your house and he sees your wife and your kids look at you with fear in their eyes. He knows you're full of bull. You have nothing to give him. Alkies don't hear what you say, they watch what you do. Now if he goes to your house and he sees it that your wife saying, hi honey, hello Jack or John, I'll make some coffee, and he sees your kids hugging you, now he wants what you got. Show him the big book. Don't talk about it, show him the big book. That's where it's at. Talk about taking the program home. They make your amends at home. That's where it started. If my wife is here, I get the coffee. Sit down, honey. I'll get the coffee. I don't get my wife's coffee because I'm some kind of a wimp. I get my wife's coffee because it's my way of saying, thank you, honey. Thank you for feeding our kids and keeping a roof over their head and clothes on their back. Thank you for being the woman you were when I wasn't the man I should have been. I love you, I respect you, and for the rest of your life, you're going to be treated like a queen, babe. Because you paid your dues in spades. I owe. If you're an alkie and you've got a woman with you that was with you when you were drinking, you owe. Is that too much to ask? Get somebody's coffee? It's a way of making amends. Starting to get well. Sat down a bunch of old timers and says, what is he talking about, take it home? How do you take it home? How do you do that? When was the last time you... Thank you for a nice breakfast. What do you mean, thank you for a nice breakfast? I buy the food. She better cook it. When was the last time you called up and says, hey, honey, don't cook tonight, huh? Don't take you and the kids. Never. I might have been sober 14 months, but I never thought of anybody but me. One of the old timers grabbed me and said, I talk to you over there, Tom? I said, sure. He says, when are you going to grow up, Burns? You self-centered son of a gun, all you do is moan and groan. You're sober 14 months, you haven't got a Cadillac. Isn't that a damn shame? When are you going to learn how to say thank you, God, for the things you have? Stop moaning and groaning about the things you want. You got more blessings than you deserve. You got a warm bed to sleep in, you got a home, you got your kids, you got your wife, you got a job, you got a few bucks in your pocket, and you're moaning and groaning? Grow up. You have 4 absolutes. Put on selfishness in your life for 30 days and see what happens. And walked away. This boy, if I don't change, I'm going to drink, so I better do something. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, but I better do something. I stopped at a little convenience store and I bought a box of chocolate-covered cherries, $1.89. Big deal? And a card that you give somebody that was in a hospital. Thanks for being there when I needed you. This is not marriage counseling. This is my AA. This is the first time in my life I ever did anything for somebody else. Thanks for being there when I need you. Love, Tom. Chocolate-covered cherries, card. I walk in the house, she's sitting in the living room. I only have the guts to give them to her. I put them on the kitchen table. I walk in the living room, I says, Glenn, listen, I know how you feel about the divorce and everything else, but listen, I heard a guy talk tonight. And they're going on a vacation. Glenn, I want us to go on vacations. And him and his wife were looking at each other and they were talking and they were happy, and I want us to be happy. I want to be like that guy, Glenn, and I'll do whatever I have to do. I'll change, I'll do whatever I have to do. But if I can, we can make it, we might have a hell of a life. If I don't make it, I'll leave. She looked up and smiled. She said, who led the meeting? Jesus? Couldn't believe anything was happening to Nutty. She said, I'll make some coffee. And she went out in the kitchen. It wasn't 2 minutes. I heard her crying. And I walked out in the kitchen. She was standing by the kitchen table with the card and the candy. And the dam broke loose. All the hurts for 10, 12, 15 years. All the pain. Just couldn't. And you know, we sat at the kitchen table. And we cried and we hugged and we talked. Because I listened. For the first damn time in my life, I listened. Yeah, you have a brain. I didn't know that. Yeah, you have feelings. I didn't know that. Alkies don't think about those things. You think we drink to hurt your feelings? No. We just don't think about it. Go live your life. Leave me alone. Don't worry about me. Yeah? They do. They do. Normal people worry about us. Got out the bills, and 5 a week in this one, 10 a week in this one, 20 a week in that one. Stop paying the bills. Anybody on the couch? You get a box of candy. Boom. It's no big deal. I think it was great big now. Hey, babe, how about coming in today and have lunch together and then we'll go play some golf this afternoon? That big deal? Another hotel? Yeah, boom. Get them hotels. Believe me, you can't beat them. I come home, I was sober 18 months. My wife says to me, Tom, see that $30 on the kitchen table? I says, yeah. She says, that's ours, Tom. That's our $30. I put the kids in the car Saturday morning. I drove out to Sandusky to a Perkins Pancake House, and we got $30 worth of strawberries. And back then, it was a lot. We got $30 worth of strawberries and whipped cream and pancakes. And I made pancakes, whipped cream, and strawberries, blah, blah, blah. And my daughter, Corinne, 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old then. Daddy, can I have some more strawberries? You can be a strawberry. And I gave her a great big bowl of strawberries. She kissed me on the cheek and grabbed me and said, Daddy, I love you. My sons jumped in the car in the front seat because they wanted to be next to Daddy when he was driving home. That's my AA. I tell my sponsor how good things are going. My phone rings at midnight. He says, come pick me up. About time he did some 12-step work. I went to his house. We picked him up. We went to a little summer cottage. It was like my house. 2 kids in sneakers and underwear by this door, peeking around, crying, scared. The wife standing by the kitchen sink with a great big bruise on her face and whimpering. And he's in on the couch. He's a lump. She says, my husband died. He asked me to call him. He's dead. And I went in the living room and I picked him up. I listened for a heart. I listened for a breath. Nothing. The guy is dead. Son of a gun, why'd you have to die on my first 12-step call? What the hell am I going to tell the guys Friday? I went on a 12-step call. I get a corpse. What the hell do you want me to do? Right? I go out to the kitchen. I say, the old time. I say, this guy is. He went over to the woman. He said, lady, do you have anything in the house to drink? She said, I have a bottle of wine. He took the wine in a glass, walked in the living room, hit them together, says, hey, buddy, want a drink? He sat right up. Boom. I said, look at that. They even raised the dead, these people. You know what impressed this guy? When he poured the wine, he filled the glass up about that much. And when the guy drank it down to about that much, he filled it up again. Huh? The guy said, you guys were raised. Damn right. Want to go to a party? Yeah. Down the Bayview, down the ramp, in the bed. Boom. I get home about 5 in the morning. I change clothes. I go to work. I come home from work about 5:30 that night. I'm beat. I take a shower. I don't want to eat. I'm going up to bed, and the phone rings. The old time. He said, did you stop and see New Man? I said, no, I didn't stop and see New Man. He said, you put him in there. He's going to be there 6 days. You see him every day. I said, I don't like the New Man. I worked all day. I'm tired. I don't care if you don't like him, you don't like him, you're tired. You put him in there. You go down and see him. I said, Bill, I don't know what to tell him. He says, tell him. Who the hell says you got to tell him anything? How about bringing him some cigarettes and letting them know somebody cares enough to be there? How about that? Slam the phone down. I go get cigarettes. I go to the hospital. I walk in the hospital. He's sitting up in the bed. He don't know how he got to the hospital. Don't know nothing. Hi there. How you doing? How's the food? Well, I just thought I'd come and see you and say, look, here's your cigarettes. My sponsor said I gotta give you cigarettes. Here's cigarettes. I'm gonna sit in the bed, you're gonna smoke. I don't care if you smoke or not. You're gonna smoke goddamn cigarettes, and we're gonna talk. Opened the pack, put one cigarette in his mouth, and said, thanks. I sat in the bed and I told him, you know why he's a Joe Hard guy? He don't remember going to the hospital. He don't know how he got to the hospital. He don't know why he's in the hospital. He don't know if he got a job. He don't know if he got a family. He don't know anything. Just coming out of a 3-day blackout. And when I tell him how I felt when I woke up in jail, he says, you know. He's damn right I know. Been there, done that. Now you got the beginning of sponsorship. Once a guy knows you know, you've been there, then you can help him. Until then, you can do nothing for him. It's in the big book. A bond comes, a bond. He's not interested how much you know about the big book. He's interested in if you lived it, and you know it. You know the fear. And now he sees you living without the fear. He wants what you have. Then we get and we show you how to get it. Very simple. Before you can give him anything, you got to show him you got it. I go, I see him every day. I take him home. I take him to meetings, and more meetings. He gets in my car. He's sober 3 months. He says, boy, did you read the 24-hour book today? No. It's great, Tom. So I went to me. I bought a 24-hour book. Read yesterday, next week, next month. Wait till he ask me about this damn 24-hour book tomorrow. 5 months, he gets in my car. He says to me, his sponsor, God. 5th chapter blows your mind, don't it? I bought a big book. One of these. I don't know where you were. I had scrambled eggs when I got here. Read this book. By the time I read these 3 lines, the next 3 lines, I didn't remember what was in it. I had scrambled eggs for a brain. I got my AA in church basements, cars, kitchens, Sister Nation talking to new people, old timers telling me things, listening, hearing, going to meetings a mile away, 10 miles away, an hour away, have guys tear me apart, going down, put me together, coming home. and my wife reading the big book to me so I could understand it. 8 months I get a call from this guy's wife, and she's crying. She says, Tom, can you please come down the house? And I figured that son of a gun's drinking. And I got to the house, and I got to that driveway, and I got out the car, I started up the driveway, and I heard a screen door slam, and I looked up, and here's this little woman just crying. Took my hands and put them behind my back, and she kissed me on the cheek, and she said, God bless you, Tom. Yeah, I'm a drunk, I got a woman blessing me. AA don't go from the outside in, it comes from the inside out. I swelled up. I swelled up with gratitude and joy. A woman blesses me. I'm a drunk and she's blessing me. 2 kids run out and grab you. Uncle Tom, wait till you see Uncle Tom. Come on, by then I'm Uncle Tom. Run into a bedroom. He's standing by the bed crying. Kids are jumping up and down on the bed. The shoes and slips and dresses and little bicycle and Levi's and all kinds of clothes and coats. Toys, refrigerator full of food. He got a job, went to the credit union, borrowed $1,200, then went Christmas shopping in June. You want to see AA? Watch a 6-year-old kid jump up and down in a new pair of pants saying, my dad got them for me. My dad got them for me, and his eyes are that big. That's my AA. I don't like to hug, but I hugged him. He's crying, I'm crying, I get in the car, boy, God, I don't know about you, but I see what you can do, God. Now, from now on, God, I'm gonna bring the body, God. You run ahead, because I know there's something here bigger than me. And I get home, and I walked in the kitchen. I says, honey, you should see that house. You should see those kids. And she says, yeah, I never seen you so happy. You want to get happy? Forget yourself. You think you got problems? I'll tell you what. We'll put all our problems on a piece of paper, put them on the coffee table over here. When you go get the coffee, read all the problems. 99% of us will take our own back. So I sponsor this guy and sponsor others and many. And then for the next 10, 15 years, boy, we are going to business, make a lot of money. Our life is blessed. I think I'm God's chosen people. Oh, boy, look at me, Mr. AA, going all over the country, talking about this wonderful God and this wonderful life. And ain't I great? My daughter comes in the program because she'd come with me to meetings and heard a woman talk, and she says, Dad, maybe I didn't drink like she did, but I know those up and downs and that depression, so she comes in. And for 3 years, she's just going to meetings, and she gets a job with Coca-Cola, an advertising agency that handled Coca-Cola accounts all over the world. And she was put in charge of promotion and traveled all over the world, and she used to come home between assignments and sit at the table with me and tell me about AA and Aruba and here and there in New Orleans and Tennessee, and the fine people she met, and she was just beaming. My son Chris comes in the program and putting his life together, and my wife and I are traveling and doing things, and we got great. Finally, my daughter says, Dad, my next assignment's down in Florida, and I don't want anybody touching my antiques. Honey, if you don't want anybody touch, don't you worry. We'll get a company truck, we'll load it up, I'll take them down. So I give her the little Italian convertible, and the wife takes the other car, and I take the truck and drive it to Florida, and we unload in this beautiful place south of Miami with security and pools and fences and beautiful apartment. I said, come on, we'll go out and have dinner. She said, nope, you and Mom go have dinner. I want straight to my apartment because I want to cook breakfast for you in the morning. And my wife and I come back, and she cooks breakfast, and we go swimming in the pool, and a lot of hugs, a lot of kisses. And she gives me a letter saying how I'm her spiritual strength in the world, and thanks so much for being the father I am. And her mother, she gave her a letter. Oh, it's just great. A lot of love. And we go over to Fort Myers, and I visit my folks and my sponsor, and we drive home, and the policeman comes to the door about 10 days later and says, I hate to tell you that your daughter's been murdered. Some drug addict broke into the house and seen the antiques, and she woke up and he killed her. And you go crazy. And guys are saying, well, Tom's sober 23 years, he can handle it, you don't handle a damn thing. You go out in the backyard and you say, God, if this is the kind of God you are, you can go to hell, God. I know I'm not supposed to think this way, but I'm going to get shotgun God. I'm going to Florida, I'm going to find that son, and I'm going to blow his head off. And I don't care what you do. And you can take your AA and all your goody-goody, and you can stick it. And you go totally bananas. And then they catch him, and you go through the court system for 2 years. Why they, Mr. So-and-so, do you realize your rights? And, oh, that will drive you nutty. You go to the grave, and you're talking to your daughter, and you're crying, and then you got to get at him. Well, how can I get at the son? I go, well, you can start an AA group in that prison, and when he comes that meeting, you can kill him. Yeah, that's good, too. And you sleep an hour a night. You go to bed at 11, you wake up at 12, you pace the floor all night. You get in the car to go to Cleveland, you get to the end of the street, you don't know right from left. Finally, one day you stand in the kitchen table at the kitchen sink, and you black out. You don't know why you're at the kitchen sink. And your wife comes in from shopping, and she's, what's the matter? And you don't want your wife to see you that way, so you tell her, get out. And about 5 minutes in walks your son, another AA, and your son puts his arm around you. He says, Dad, you're not God. You can crack up. For 3 years, Dad, you haven't slept or ate or anything. Why don't you... Let's go to the emergency room, Dad. So you go to the emergency room, and the doctor says, how do you feel, Mr. Burns? And you say, I don't care if I live or die. Never say that. Never say that to a doctor. They put you in a little room for your own protection. Your son says, I wouldn't put my dad in any room. So they get my family doctor, and they put me in a ward-type thing. Guy comes in and says, how long's it been since you slept? I said, I don't know. They give you a little pill. You walk around like a zombie for 4 days. Little people come in and say, do you love your mother? Yeah, I love my mother. What the hell is that got to do with anything? I love my mother. You're there 2 weeks, and let you come home to see how you react, and you're not in the house an hour, and you're bananas again. And AAs come to the hospital, and you tell the people they don't want to see them. You don't want to see nobody. Finally, one day, your son walks in the room. He's got the big book. He's, Dad, these people may help you mentally and physically, but I'm going to help you spiritually, Dad. Read this book. He's sober 5 years. What the hell can he know? I said, Chris, take your book, your God, your program, get the hell out of my room. He killed my daughter and my son. He says, don't blame my God for killing my sister. My God don't kill. My God gives life. He don't take life. I don't know what kind of sick God you got, Dad, but you better take and borrow mine, because my God don't kill. Use mine until you get a God that's a loving God like my God. What happened to the God that we know in AA that brings people off the streets and gives them their lives back? What about that God? How about my family? How about everything you got back? Is that a killing God? A sick drug addict killed my sister, not God. Dad, there's the second part of the first step, and my life's unmanageable. Now, you didn't drink, but your life's unmanageable. Let's start, Dad, with step 1. And my son sponsored me. Powerless over alcohol, and my life's unmanageable. And you stick that, my life's unmanageable, and apply it to whatever you got going in your life that's not right. The blonde down the street, or the gambling, or whatever. It works. And for 2 years in business, we go to business meetings, and when they come up with schedules and things that my brain just didn't operate, I would light my pipe, my son would answer, my 2 sons would answer. Look, my son's covered for me for 2 years. People in here know I was sick. Went to the doctor for a checkup. Doctor said, gee, Mr. Burns, you're 40% back. My son says, boy, that's great. Before he was sick, he was operating with 20%. You bring the body here. I spend, any of you who lost a loved one knows what I'm talking about. I spend more time with my daughter now than I did when she was here. Do you understand that? I'm going to tell you something. If it don't bleed, the hell with it. I'm not talking about jobs or houses or bank accounts or worried about retirement and all this bull. The only thing that's important in this world is people. If it don't bleed, the hell with it. Anything else can be replaced. You're the most important thing in the world. God bless you for listening. Please bring the body. The mind's going to catch up. Good night.